Minnesota. Ruby boys, they know us. All fast money, no slow bucks.
What is going on, you guys? Brandon here, aka Brawadis, and if I sound like shit, look like shit, I literally just woke up. I just woke up, took a shower, just hopped out the shower. Today's my grind out the Brawadis NBA channel day. I just announced on Twitter that I'm not going to be uploading on my main channel because I'm going to be uploading, at least I'm going to try. I'm going to be uploading for sure 2 videos on this channel, maybe 3. I'm going to try to get 3 videos out for today. Today's video, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, is a Minnesota Timberwolves team preview and predictions. The next video will be the New Orleans Pelicans. And if I have time for that 3rd video, I'm going to try to get the New York Knicks prediction done today. For all those people expecting a video on my main channel, I apologize, but like I said, I'm trying to get 3 videos up for today on this channel. I can't get 4 videos up in one day. It's just, there's not enough time in a day to get 4 videos up. So I apologize to you guys. And you know, I tweeted out, I was like, sorry guys, I'm only uploading on my NBA one today. I'm going to miss one day on my main channel. I apologize. I'm sorry. And you won't believe it. There were actually people saying, no, what the fuck, bro, OMG, all this. And I'm just like, guys, in case you don't follow my NBA channel and you only follow my main one, not only have I been daily uploading every day for like the past week or 2, but I've also been putting out videos on my NBA channel almost every single day. So if you only follow my main channel, you think I'm only daily uploading single uploads every day. But for those of you who follow my NBA channel and my main channel, you see that I'm double uploading and sometimes triple uploading every single day for the past week or 2. So I just took one day off my main channel today. I hope you guys understand. People also forget that I'm in school, but not just school. I still go to college, and I have a review coming up this Tuesday, and on this Thursday I have a test. So honestly, in my opinion, I'm surprised I'm even double uploading every single day, let alone if I take one day off to kind of just get my NBA channel going and then get ready for my review and my test. I don't think that should be that big of a deal. And I feel like, I really do feel like sometimes people forget that I still go to college, unlike many, if not most other YouTubers. Nonetheless, let's get underway. Minnesota Timberwolves team preview and prediction. The Minnesota Timberwolves are everybody's, oh, we're going to be so good in the future team. They're everybody's, you know, the season ends and they have another, you know, I don't want to say terrible, but another not so good looking year, and they end up drafting high in the lottery, and then you have everybody saying, oh, wait till next year, wait till next year. Next year comes and same thing. Well, Timberwolves fans, I think wait till the future, we're going to have the best team in the future, I think that time may have finally come. It seems as if the Minnesota Timberwolves finally have all the pieces that they need, not only to fight for a playoff spot this season, but they have, it looks like, all the pieces that they need to where in a couple of years, when they are, I don't want to speak too soon, but in the second round of the playoffs, Western Conference Finals, possibly even the NBA Finals, who knows? But it seems as if they have their core ready. Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins. Hold your breath on Chris Dunn because you've never seen him play an NBA game, but what he was in college, you would hope that translates. So let's just get right into it. The biggest offseason acquisition for them was not a player. It was actually head coach Tom Thibodeau. He was obviously one of the most sought-after head coaches in the league. Every single team with a head coaching vacancy was trying to get him, and he chose to go to Minnesota for obvious reasons. Not only are they one of the most up-and-coming talented teams in the league, but they kind of, if you look at it in a way, they kind of resemble that Chicago Bulls team that he coached. He wants to get that defense-first mentality, and they have those types of players, such as Chris Dunn, Andrew Wiggins, and who's to say he can't turn Karl Anthony Towns into a defensive monster? So they brought in Tom Thibodeau, so that's already a win. That's a plus. He's going to turn into instill this, because they have all the offense they need, coming from Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, they even Shabazz Muhammad, and then they have Ricky Rubio to set up that offense. So they have all the offense they need. You bring in Tom Thibodeau to kind of instill that defense wins games mentality, and I think they're straight off that head coach, perfect head coach for that team. And then you go to the draft. Chris Dunn was, in my opinion, he was going to be drafted 3rd, if not 4th. I thought the Suns were going to take him once he fell past Boston. Obviously not to use him, but I thought they would take him and trade him. Minnesota got their dream. He fell to 5th. They got Chris Dunn, who in a lot of people's opinions was actually the 3rd best player in the draft, maybe even the 2nd behind Ben Simmons, and they picked him up, which now not only does that help them because that's the player they wanted all along. But it also makes Ricky Rubio expandable. That's the biggest thing. You now have a player who, you're not going to get a LeBron James in a trade for Ricky Rubio. I'm not saying that. But you do have a player who you could trade to get some value, to maybe help out at your power forward position, or maybe just you could get some value back. Now, I'm not the highest on Ricky Rubio. He can't shoot the ball. He's a terrible finisher at the rim, but he's a great defender, one of the best defensive point guards in the league, and you can't deny that he sets his teammates up perfectly. He can run an offense. He knows how to control the ball. He controls the pace of the game. That's there. So now that makes Ricky Rubio expandable. The Timberwolves should put him on the trade block and just kind of grow together as the core of Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Anthony Towns. Ricky Rubio is not old by any means, but I just don't think he's going to grow in with that core. Chris Dunn's eventually going to take his place, so why waste any time? They should trade Ricky Rubio, if not soon. They should trade him by the trade deadline and just give Chris Dunn the keys to that offense, because like Rubio, Chris Dunn does not need to shoot the ball. He is a scorer, but he's not a shooter, so he can also run an offense. He plays perfect defense. And the biggest question mark, I guess, for this team would be the power forward position, although Gorgui Dieng is underrated. Dieng is underrated. He doesn't stand out and do anything. Oh, he scores 20 points a game. Oh, he gets 12 rebounds a game. Oh, he blocks 4 shots. No, he doesn't do anything excellent, but he does everything pretty good, and he is developing a mid-range jumper. But the thing about that, although I believe he's underrated and he's a good player, in today's NBA, nearly every single team in the league, and at least every successful team, has a stretch four. They have a big where they can stretch out behind the three-point line. And I know they have that in Karl Anthony Towns because he could already shoot the three ball, which is amazing. But everyone has that stretch four. They call it the four, the power forward. So, and then you look at Adrian Payne, who's, I'm not saying he's a bust, but he's nowhere near what he was in college. Coming out of college, you expected him to be like a Channing Frye player, but he obviously has his health concerns, so he's not the player they thought he would be. I think if they could trade Ricky Rubio for a stretch four, it doesn't have to be a star. They have their stars. It would be worse if they traded for a star. All they need is a player who complements that roster at the 4 spot, and they could still keep Dieng as a backup player. That would be perfect. Before I keep going, Karl Anthony Towns, let me just give some props to him really quick before I continue with this video, because the dude is a monster. And people forget that just 2 years ago, he was in college. He was in school just 2 years ago. And now, not even 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And now you have him, you could argue, I don't agree with this myself, but you could at least put up an argument that he is the best center in the league. And one of the best big men. It's just like you had, going into his draft class, you had, should we pick Karl Anthony Towns or Jahlil Okafor? Which one? And now you look at it, Towns is... Guys, if you haven't seen Karl Anthony Towns play, either go on YouTube right now and search up his highlights, or just watch some Timberwolves games. The dude's a beast. The dude is a beast, and that was his first season. I can only imagine what he's going to do in the future. This dude he's going to be the anchor of that team. A lot of people thought that would be Wiggins, and then Karl Anthony Towns would be his sidekick. No. It's the other way around. Towns is going to be the guy, and Wiggins is going to be his sidekick. So let's just keep going. I really like the way this roster is set up. A lot of people, the shooting guard spot, a lot of people they could slot Brandon Rush in that backup shooting guard spot. He's a great shooter. If you guys didn't watch him in Golden State, he could shoot the 3 ball. And then you have Zach LaVine, who coming out of college nobody knew. Was he going to be a point guard? Was he going to be a shooting guard? He was too out of control to play the point guard position, but he couldn't really shoot to be a shooting guard. So that kind of scared teams away, and he kind of fell in the draft. And that had people thinking, like, what is he going to be? Well, he got lucky because in today's NBA, it's kind of positionless. You don't need to have a set position as long as you could play ball. And at the same time, he taught himself how to shoot the ball. So if you guys watched his rookie season, he couldn't shoot the ball for shit. If you watched him last year, the dude learned how to shoot. And if he can keep that up, because it was just a 1-year thing, if he can keep up, he shot the 3 ball. I think he shot almost 40% from 3, and his mid-range looked His mid-range looked decent. Although it didn't look perfect, it was way better than what it was in college and what it was his rookie year. That's a huge question mark. If Zach LaVine can develop his jumper, if Zach LaVine can prove that he doesn't need the ball in his hands to create his own offense and score, but rather he could just kind of camp out and shoot the ball, receive passes from either Rubio or Chris Dunn, that is a huge question mark and answer to the Timberwolves' success. That's going to be huge, because if LaVine can't shoot the jumper and instead he needs the ball in his hands to create his own offense, it's kind of okay, where does he belong? Because you already have Rubio, and if you trade Rubio, you have Chris Dunn, who is just as ball dominant as Rubio, and Zach LaVine doesn't really have a place on this team. But the fact that LaVine showed what he did last year gives hope to all Timberwolves fans, and a lot of NBA fans of other teams should be scared of that, because if Zach LaVine can develop a jumper, a consistent jumper, to where he could just spot up and shoot, this team is going to be so scary. So, by the way, if Kevin Garnett retired, obviously, and if you're wondering what happened to Nikola Pekovic, he's, for whatever reason, been injured or hurt for literally the past 2 years. So I honestly believe they're either going to cut him or trade him. I don't know if any team would take him, but he's not going to be playing much this year, if at all. I don't think he's going to be playing at all. That's why they brought in Cole Aldrich, and then they brought in Jordan Hill to this team. Their bench is not bad. They have Shabazz Muhammad, Tyus Jones, who's not really going to get any playing time. He's a summer league star. Tyus Jones, that's what he is. He's a summer league star. They have Brandon Rush. The Timberwolves, they're going to be good. Okay? Enough talk. Let's get into the predictions. So, I think the biggest thing, okay, let's see. Final prediction for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got their coach, Tom Thibodeau. Perfect fit for that team. I can't stress that enough. Gorgie Deng. Probably a weak spot in that starting lineup, but not a bad player at all. The weakest spot in that starting lineup, yes, but he's a good player. Zach LaVine, like I said, great dunker, great athleticism. He can improve his defense. If he develops that jumper, insane potential, crazy good player. Right now, people are moving too fast on him, just because you know how the hype is with all these younger kids watching ESPN or whatever, and if they see someone win the dunk contest, he's automatically the greatest player of all time. No, you kids watching this that don't really watch Timberwolves games and just pay attention to the dunk contest or All-Star Weekend, Zach LaVine needs to improve his jumper. That's what he needs to do. But that's exactly what he did at the end of last season. So if he just keeps that up, that's fine. You then have the point guard position, which is stacked in a weird way. You have two players, Ricky Rubio and Chris Dunn, and Ricky Rubio kind of knows that the writing's on the wall and he's kind of on his way out. Chris Dunn is just waiting. But I do think the Timberwolves need to see a little bit more from Chris Dunn before they get rid of Rubio, because Dunn hasn't showed too much in the preseason. He played great in the summer league, but preseason he hasn't done too well. That position's straight, though. Either Rubio or Dunn, whoever plays, is going to fit perfectly well, because they don't need 20, 30 points a game from the guard position. They just need good defense and someone to set up Wiggins and Towns, the next two players I'm going to talk about. Andrew Wiggins, do you remember Andrew Wiggins coming out of high school, coming out of college? This dude was, I don't want to go overboard because I didn't believe this myself, but there were people comparing him to the next Kobe Bryant or the next LeBron James. And now, although obviously he's not the next LeBron James or the next Kobe Bryant, the dude is a very good player. And if he could develop a consistent three-point... His mid-range is gold. His mid-range is money. His defense is great. The athleticism is there. He could put the ball back. His game is there. He could do almost everything on the court, but his three-point shot is kind of shaky. If he could develop a consistent three-point shot, he reminds me of Jimmy Butler. And then now you have Tom Thibodeau, who's coaching Jimmy Butler. He reminds me of Jimmy Buckets. He does need to get a little stronger. He's put on some weight. But Andrew Wiggins, he's a great player. That's it. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns. I don't need to speak anymore on him. You already know what you know. Like I told you, he's a great player and he's only going to get better. Now let me give you my prediction to where everybody's going to say, what? Because I've been praising the Timberwolves the whole time, right? But I do think people are moving too fast on them. Not just the media, but they're getting a ton of hype. You got to remember, teams don't build overnight. Remember OKC when they were drafting Durant and Westbrook and Harden and Serge Ibaka, and everyone's like, oh my God, they're going to win a championship. They're so good. But no, they went from lottery to lower playoff team to better team and then getting to the NBA Finals. It doesn't happen overnight. So the Timberwolves last year, they were one of the worst teams in the league. They won 29 games and lost 53. If you don't know how bad that is, look how bad the Phoenix Suns were last year. Look how much I talk shit about the Suns because of how bad they were. The Timberwolves were only 5 or 6 wins better. So things don't happen overnight. Do I think the Timberwolves are going to improve? Yes. Do I think they're going to be a very good team? Yes. Do I think they're going to be a Western Conference Finals contender within 3 years? Yes. Now, do I think they're going to make the playoffs this upcoming season? This is where I think people are moving a little too fast. You have people giving them 45, 46, 44 wins, and I think that's just a little too much. You have people putting them in that 6 or 7 seed. I think that's a little too much. You're moving a little too fast. I'm going to put the Timberwolves at around 38 to 41 wins. I don't think they go over 500 yet. I think they're going to improve. They won 29 last year. I'm going to give them 10 more wins. I'll put them at 39 or 40 wins. I'm going to give them 39 or 40 wins. And if the playoffs are not out of the question, I could see the Timberwolves sneaking into that 8th seed, honestly. But I just think people are moving a little too fast. You got to remember, it's a process. They're just now all getting into the groove. They're just now learning, hey, we've been a losing team for all these years. We need to, it's hard to change that mentality. They have the longest drought of missing the postseason. They haven't made the playoffs longer than any other team in the whole league, longer than the Sacramento Kings, longer than my Phoenix Suns, longer than the Philadelphia 76ers. Nobody has missed the playoffs more years in a row than Minnesota. So I'm going to give them 38 to 41 wins. I think at best they're 41 and 41, maybe 42 wins at best. And I don't think they're going to be worse than 38, 39 wins. So I think they're right there around a 500 team. And I don't think anybody can complain about that, especially a Timberwolves fan who, if you've watched the past 13 seasons, you just want to go and throw up. I think a 10, 11, 12 game improvement from last year would be great. A Ricky Rubio trade to upgrade at the power forward spot, or maybe a backup shooting guard, that would be great as well. And playoffs, I'm not saying they won't make the playoffs. I don't think playoffs are out of the question, but if they do sneak in, they would be an 8th seed. Oh, could you imagine a Warriors-Timberwolves first round series? Obviously, the Timberwolves would get killed, but it would be so fun to watch. So I'm going to peg them at around 40 wins. If that's enough to get into the playoffs because the bottom of the West isn't too strong, then they're a playoff team. If not, then I put them at 10th seed at worst, most likely 9th seed, and at best they could be an 8th seed. So those are my thoughts on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you guys think. Tune into my next video on the New Orleans Pelicans, and if I have time later tonight, on the New York Knicks. Thank you guys so much for watching.